anti-Semitism is ramping up worldwide. It was so before the recent war, but it's taken an increase. So it doesn't mean to say that we can't ever criticise the Jewish state of Israel. It's not a perfect state. No government on earth is perfect. But we know from Bible prophecy that for the prophecies of the Bible to be fulfilled, the Jewish people need to be back in the land of Israel. And the day will come when Messiah will sit on the throne in Jerusalem. So it's interesting that in 2004, an Israeli cabinet minister called Nathan Sharansky suggested 3 markers to delineate the boundary between legitimate criticism and anti-Semitism. So under his 3D scheme, when one of these elements was detectable, only one had to be detectable, a line had been crossed. One of these is double standards, judging Israel by one standard and all other countries by another. And you know that there has been a lot of that. Secondly, delegitimisation, the conclusion that Israel has no right to exist. Okay? And thirdly, demonisation regarding the Israel state as not merely wrong-headed, but demonic. So all of these 3, shall I say, concepts are ones, if you see them, you know that it's crossed the line from legitimate criticism of Israel to anti-Semitism. And I think it's useful to have that to go by. So, judging Israel by one standard and all countries by another, with this recent conflict, as you know, there was a recent statement by the Queensland ALP that all it did was criticise Israel, and there was no mention at all of the 4,300 rockets fired into Israel. So it was very one-sided. And you'll see lots of that in the media. Delegitimisation, that Israel has no right to exist. The policy of Hamas and other organisations is to have completely eliminate the state of Israel and to have no Jewish people living there. Okay, basically driving them into the sea is the expression used. And if you listen to some of those Palestinian rallies, you will see them chanting things like that, driving the Jews into the sea. And demonisation, yes, just regarding Israel as evil. Okay, so it's worth keeping that in mind.